Okay, folks, as I'm sure you are aware, people are ramping up to implement zero trust. We hear it all over the place. Whether we want to hear it or not, there's a lot of talk going on about zero trust frameworks and zero trust architecture and all the things that are going to be put in place. Well, because of the work that I do, I see a lot of the comms that are coming down, a lot of the communications coming down from Department of Defense and other federal and non-federal organizations about zero trust. And some of that is related to, well, how are we going to explain this to lay people, to people who are not, they don't work in security. They really have no interest in cybersecurity. And they're just doing what they're doing because they're told to do it. And their computer's going to get taken away if they don't. How do we relay what zero trust is and how it's going to impact the work that they do on a daily basis? So, in hearing all of that, ingesting all that information, you may have seen Professor Black Ops and we talked about this on one of his videos. And I think we're going to have another discussion because from what I've been able to gather, I don't see how it's going to work. I really don't. I do not see how it's going to work. But I have come up with a simple metaphor to help. I think I've come up with a simple metaphor to help. So let me show you all. And I really want you to comment on this, either in this video or in the blog that I'm going to share with you, in the comments there, because I'm really trying to get to the bottom of this. And I haven't yet gotten to the bottom of this. Okay, so let me show you what I have in the blog. Okay. All right. So this is what I have in the blog. It's what I hope I'm wrong about zero trust. That's what I call it. It's very short. A simple metaphor. So a security guard sitting at the front desk reception area of a building is the equivalent of what we have now, the traditional static network-based perimeter. Okay. For the most part, this is what and y'all know what that looks like. When you go into a building, you have a security guard there and you run your stuff through the machine that they have and you go on about your business. You go to this room, you go to that room. You might have somebody walking with you as an escort. But for the most part, that's the way it works. Okay. Now, once zero trust is in place, not only is there a guard sitting at the front desk, there are also guards stationed at each elevator, each stairwell, and each doorway to offices on each floor. Do you see this? I am hoping with all the hope I have in my heart that this is not the right interpretation. I need somebody to say, Cheryl, this metaphor that you've come up with is whack. Okay? Whack as hell. Because this is not zero trust. There is no way in the world we're going to put a guard at every door, every window, every elevator. No, 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 no. Are you nuts? We're not doing that. That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Because let me tell you why. And that's what I have down here. Right now, we have a struggle network. Okay. And I'm talking with organizations that I've been in, that I've had experience with. Okay. And it's more than one. All right. Asset management is a bear in every place I've been. Even before I got into cybersecurity, asset management is hard for whatever reason. Okay. So number one, we don't even know what we have. Number two, we have the policies and the way that CISOs want policies written it's so compliance driven, okay, that it's all about don't do this, don't do that, don't do those things, okay, with no consideration of human nature. Okay. Now, when I can get away with something other than that, I get away with it. Okay. But when I can't, I just, I have to put that out there because that's what they're asking for. So, of course, you're going to have people doing things that the policy says you don't do. Why? Because policy is more than what's written down. Policy goes beyond just what's on the paper. That's the administrative part. You also have the operational and the technical. Okay. So we got the policy, we got the administrative, we got the technical, but that middle piece, that operational, that's like non existent. It's nowhere to be found. Okay. So if you're trying to get from point A to point B and there's a big opening in the middle there with no bridge, how hard is that going to be? Very. Okay. So the simple, what you would think would be the simple things are hard to do, are hard to enforce. Okay. So then you have that. Now I'm telling you about the current environment before zero trust. Okay. Before putting a guard at every door, window, elevator, stairwell. Okay. I'm telling you the current state of affairs. All right. Now we also have, go on your computer at work, especially if you work in a federal organization. And if you can pull up your task manager, look at how many agents, look at how many security tools are running on your workstation. It's nuts. And they're there. At least, you can know they're there because the network is slow. I told somebody there is no way, if I have to do anything fast, then you can forget it. Okay. Because I'm sitting there waiting for the server to do the agents to do whatever they need to do on the server. And, and the web page I'm going to, that little blue circle, I mean, is the bane of my existence because I'm waiting. I'm waiting to be let in, to be authorized, authenticated, to put in my, listen, I'm in cybersecurity. I get it. I get it. But the degradation to performance due primarily to all of these security features is now, at least from what I have in my mind that I hope is wrong, going to be further degraded now that I have zero trust in place. Tell me how that's going to work. Okay. Now, like I said, I'm basing all of this on an understanding that may be totally wrong. Okay. That may be totally wrong. Zero trust looks good on paper. It sounds good, at a conference and all that. But in practice, in the real world, okay, the real world is not what's on a PowerPoint slide and what your calculations tell you, and and the balance sheet. That ain't the real world. Okay, how are people going to? How is this going to work in operational work? So from the time I sign on in the morning, from the time employees sign into the VPN or however they're signing in, and them getting the work done throughout the day. How is that going to work? I can only imagine the friction. Look at this picture. I can only imagine the friction. Can you imagine, like, if you were in a physical building and to get from one room to the other, look at how much friction is here. That's why I'm saying this can't be right. Okay. It can't be right because right now, without zero trust enacted, we having a hell of a time getting from one room to the other in a timely manner, in a manner that's not super frustrating, you know? Um, I'm not saying it can't be done. If this is the case, okay, and something, I'm sure something can be done. All right. But what I know for certain is, and this is from a meeting I attended this past week, our attitude as security professionals, we have to change it. We have to change it if we're going to start to see security being everyone's responsibility. If we don't change it, it's going to seem like we are in charge of security and you just sit back and be protected. Okay. It's never going to work like that. Never. Never. It's never going to work like that. We're going to have to change our attitude about what it means to be a cybersecurity professional and what our role actually is in organizations as cybersecurity professionals if we are actually going to mature as a profession and if the organization's cybersecurity culture is going to mature. Okay. All right. That's all I got for y'all tonight. I'll see you back here later. Have a good one.